Coming up this morning on the Dattitude podcast, well, the New Orleans Saints schedule was released Wednesday night, and I guess it shouldn't be a surprise. Your favorite team won't play a single game in prime time for the first time since I was a young man, a quarter century ago. What could be a larger foreshadowing of what's to come is that DraftKings has set lines for all 272 NFL games this season. And can you guess how many games the Saints are favored in? I can't give that away yet, but spoiler alert, it ain't 17. It ain't 10. It ain't 5. It ain't good. Interestingly, though, you'll read social media and the birds are flying and chirping, singing their happy dance. Oh, we stink. Oh, who cares? It's a new era. All is right with the world. How long do we think that'll last? Yeah, about as much time as Derry Downer spent being Derry Defender. All is well, though. Rod Walker is here for his annual jaunt through the schedule release, and I'm sure Gabe Henderson will have all sorts of positive things to say. So what are we waiting for then? Let's start the show.
If you're looking for the latest scoop and in-depth interviews on the Saints, the NFL, the Pelicans, LSU, along with the best bets of the week, then lucky you. Along with high-powered, in-the-know guests who cover our teams, Jim Derry brings plenty of Dattitude. And he'll always tell you the way it is, or at least the way he thinks it is.
Where you at, Dattitude family? You ready for prime time? Well, you're just going to have to wait a little while. It's all good, though. We don't need prime time because we have Dattitude, episode number 375, presented by Evangeline Securities for a special Thursday edition, May the 15th, 2025, the Ides of May. Oh, wait. Whatever. You know what I mean. It's May 15th. I'm your host, Jim Derry, nearly 35 years in the New Orleans sports media scene, and I thank you for being a part of the ever-growing Dattitude family. Yeah, we're having a good time. We're having a good few weeks here on Dattitude. Y'all must be loving what I had to say. Oh, no, you're just happy that the big bad wolf is gone. So you're coming to see what I had to say. Okay, that's cool. What is on today's show? Rod Walker was part of a schedule release video. Did y'all see the Saints schedule release video? I got to give it to them. At least they have a sense of humor. They might stink, but they got a sense of humor. So we're going to talk about that. If you are watching, you can see what's on today's show. If you're listening, I'll read it to you. Again, no prime time for the Saints. We're going to go through the schedule. We're going to pick it apart, one game by game. I don't know. A favorite? Yep, I gave it away in the little block here. Favorite just once. Their favorite just once. How does this compare historically? What does this say about the future, the immediate future? I mean, it's so funny. It's like people don't care about lines and all that stuff unless it's good. Oh, the Saints are favored. Whatever. I've told you this before, and I when I was talking about how I was eating crow this past weekend, and I completely ignored what the odds makers had to say. Yeah, I'm not ignoring them anymore. We're going to get into that. Schedule release. When we dive into the schedule, I'm sure most of you have seen it. I'm going to have a ticker up in a minute and show you the full schedule if you haven't seen it. It's on the title slide. You can see it there if you want to pick it apart. We're going to show it again multiple times here on the show. But I think it's so weird how these schedules come. You have supposedly the 31st easiest schedule in the league, right? But they put it together in a way, if they could find a way to make it tougher, let's see, how can we put this schedule together to where this young team is doomed to fail? And I'm not saying the NFL, they didn't like going in. I'm not one of these conspiracy theorists like y'all, oh, the NFL hates the Saints. No, I'm just saying, I'm sure it was just put together whatever way it was put together. But when you look at it, I mean, goodness gracious. Wow, we're going to get into that. Rod and I will make predictions. Gabe we'll have him make a prediction too. I have an idea. Look, whatever prediction we make is not binding, by the way. I may make a completely different prediction when I make a final prediction at the end of August. All right. So whatever prediction we make today, we might, maybe I'll be positive on this team. Are we able to say that word anymore? As long as you don't say positive. You can say positive as long as you keep it positive. You can say positive. You can't say keep it positive. You certainly can't put brother at the end of it, right? Anyway, a couple other things before we get to the comments. The fly is gone. I think the fly is gone. I haven't seen him. I've been in. Nothing has landed on the racetrack. We're good. I think we're good. Exciting day. I don't know where he went. I guess they say the fly has a lifespan of about 5 days. I think this one died a little early. Must have had a little fly heart attack. I don't know. Anyway, he's gone. Excited about that. NAIA regionals. LSU Shreveport. We've been talking about LSU Shreveport a lot the last week or so because I told you going into this week, 51-0, we did a interview. It was supposed to be on Monday's show again, but too much going on Monday to get it in. I felt sorry. I felt bad that I couldn't get Brad Neffendorf's interview, so I did it separately. It's about a 25-minute interview with Brad. Now, why is LSU Shreveport who cares about LSU? Well, we do. Why? Because they are 54-0. They defeated Mid-American Christian of Oklahoma 9-6 yesterday. They are heading to the NAIA World Series in Lewiston, Idaho. 54-0. I don't think anyone can fathom how hard that is to do. You talk about going through 54 games. You're not just playing. It's not like a college team's playing some bad high school team 54. No, they're playing other teams among their peers. 50, like you have errors that happen. All sorts of weird things happen. I mean, I watched Loyola yesterday. All sorts of weird things were happening to them. They ended up losing. Loyola lost in the winners bracket. They are playing, excuse me, as we speak. I'm sure UBN will keep me up to date. Excuse me. Verklempt about it. They lost 9-8 to Ave Maria, Florida. Or as one of the announcers said in the game yesterday, Ave Maria. I'm not making this up. Ave Maria. They were playing Ave Maria. They also called Loyola the Golden Eagles or something like that for 4 innings in game 1. It's really bad. I mean, I guess that's what you get when you get NAIA on YouTube. So Loyola is playing in a winner moves on game in Atlanta. Again, as we speak, we'll keep you up to date with that. You can be a part of the show. You know how to do it. Type in your comment, whether you're watching on YouTube or Facebook. If you haven't already done so, please subscribe to our Dattitude YouTube page. And if you're watching, can you give us a like? Me and my friend Algie Algorithm, I don't know. Anyway, he likes it when you give us a like. So give us some help. And lastly, before I get to comments this morning, I got a correction. You know me. I'm always correcting stuff. I'm always wrong about crap. Well, I must have misread Zach Ewing's tweet earlier. When I was talking about earlier in the week, Gabe was telling you last week that the Saints are going into a season with no wins. They have no wins in their quarterback room. Well, I mistakenly said that this will be the first team in the NFL since 2001 to do that. The Carolina Panthers did it in 2001. Damian Craig, Chris Wenke, and Matt Lytle. And they went 1-15 that year. Well, there have been other teams that have done it. And I don't even know how I missed this because most recently Jordan Love did it. The Green Bay Packers did it in 23. Jordan Love, Sean Clifford. Most of these teams, though, really bad. Okay, not all of them. Jordan Love in 2023 didn't have a win. He did have experience, but he didn't have a win. Jordan Love and Sean Clifford. Then in 2021, the Jets, Mike White and Zach Wilson. This is, of course, according to Josh Dubow of the AP. 2020, Cincinnati Bengals, Ryan Finley and Joe Burrow. How did I miss that one? 2017, 2 of them. Cleveland Browns, Deshaun Kaiser, Cody Kessler, Kevin Hogan. In 2017, the 2017 Rams, Brandon Allen, Sean Mannion, and Jared Goff. 08, the Packers did it again. Brian Braun, Matt Flynn, and Aaron Rodgers. Wow. 07, the Texans. Gabe should have known this. Matt Schaub and Sage Rosenfels in 2007. And in 06, San Diego did it. Philadelphia, Phillip Rivers, Charlie Whitehurst. So I just wanted to correct something that I've said on the air. I said it multiple times. So I definitely wanted to put a correction out there. All right, let's go to the comments. Who's here this morning? Not a lot of you. What are y'all doing this morning? Y'all didn't know we had a Thursday show. It's a special Thursday show. Wasn't going to wait till Friday to talk about what came out yesterday. Rocky, good. Just looking forward to the season. Who dat, no matter what dat. Would you have said that if Carr was still a quarterback? Welcome. Apathy, I'm glad there's no primetime game. I hate when people say that. I've seen multiple. You're full of crap, okay? Get out of here. I love you, Apathy, but you're full of crap. I'm glad there's no primetime games. I don't need to hear Chris Collinsworth tell me, how about this is a guy, a Joe Buck screaming no flags after every touchdown, so freaking annoying. Come on, man. You're still going to watch those games. You might as well have the same. Get out of here. Somebody else said, oh, I'm not going to mention any names. I really like the dude, but somebody said on Facebook this morning, one of my Facebook friends, this is the way to get over what you know. You're trying to set yourself up to be, I don't know, for what's coming, okay? Making excuses for crap. No prom. I'm glad there's no prom time. He says, that way I can just go to the Dome at noon and come home and relax the rest of the day, and I don't have to worry about going on a Thursday or going on a Sunday night and then having to work or going on a Monday night. Get out of here. No real fan is happy because there's no primetime games. Not realistic. Well, let's switch the banner. Oh, we're going to talk about the Saints now. There you see the schedule at the bottom of the screen. How you like my ticker? Let's see what else we got here. I'm a little feisty. I'm just letting you know I'm feisty this morning. Scott Hartman, the lack of primetime games isn't surprising, but the number of home games with late afternoon kickoffs against Eastern times was surprising and stupid. It was dumb. I hate when they do that. You know why they do that? Is because they have to put a certain amount of teams playing at 3, and I'm not joking. They'll take, if there's some big game, because 3 of the 3:00 games are 3:25 at home. And this is not a joke. So they'll take whatever the big game is of the week, a lot of times like Fox, CBS, or whatever, and they'll put it at 3:25. But then they have to have something else that runs with it. And so what they'll do is they'll put the least intriguing game next to it, and it'll only go to those home markets. So then those home markets get screwed if you don't have the NFL Sunday ticket because you're forced to watch your own team's crap. So you can't watch, I don't know, make this up. You can't watch the Chiefs and Bills because the Saints and Panthers are on. They do that. I also found it interesting that the Saints are on CBS in 8 of 16 games scheduled. That never happens, okay? Fox has a majority of the NFC games. Now, they had changed it in the last 8 or 10 years. And it's increasingly gotten more, but they changed it. It used to be Fox would get, if the Saints were playing, if they were playing at home against an NFC team or on the road, no matter who they were playing, they would be on Fox, unless obviously it was a primetime game. They have changed that. They try to move it around so both networks get a taste of both things. But the way it's happened is the Saints would only be on CBS like maybe 3 times a year, 4 times max. Not this year. Saints are on 8 of 16. CBS, 8 of 16 games. Game 17 is a TBA, so we don't know where they're going to be. But it was like Fox said, you take them. CBS said, no, you take them. Amazon and ESPN said, we ain't taking them. NBC said, yeah, right. And CBS lost the rock, paper, scissors contest. They had to take them for half the season. It's a weird thing. I mean, weird. I mean, Saints haven't been on CBS this much since the NFC was actually back on CBS. I think ended with the 93 season before they moved to Fox. Gerard Simino, good morning. Booker, who dat? UBN is here. Anything newsworthy today? You got a spot in the booth for you in week 2. Absolutely not. You can't wear jerseys in the press box, and you can't cheer up there either. Good morning, Kyle Sherman. He wants to know, says, there is no other result expected than being a dog in almost every game. Vegas doesn't care about hope and potential. That is true. Only fans do. You can only hope we get surprised like 2006. Big difference between this year and 2006. Big difference. We're going to talk about that. The last word today, as I didn't mention, in fact, let me go back to this real quick. Oh, that's not the right slide. That's the right slide. Last word, quarterbacks beyond the first round. I'm not going to move the ticker, but that's what it is. We're going to have a little treat for you later. We're going to talk about quarterbacks beyond the first round and how, you can just judge for yourself. We're going to talk about that. That's coming up. Rod Walker's coming on in a couple minutes. Kyle Shed, help me, said the fly. Fly's gone, man. I don't know where the fly went. I'm just glad he's gone. Steel Bill, who dat? Earl's picks. Can't believe not one primetime game when they give us 2 home games in a row at beginning, plus some hard teams right away. Hard teams. I'm going to ask Rod what he thinks, but I think this team is set up to be 0-4. I'm not trying to be negative Nelly or Derry down on purpose. I'm just telling you what I think. Just telling you. Rocky, I'm not going to spell rebuild. You know how to spell it. Record doesn't even matter. The record does matter. It always matters. The record doesn't matter. Get that. Rocky, I love you, but come on, man. You making excuses for him already? Get out of here. Sav, at least we aren't playing cold weather games. I also thought every team get at least one Thursday night. That is not the case. 3 teams don't have prime time this year. The Saints, Titans, and the Browns. There are only 2 teams who are only favored once. It is the Browns are the only other team that's favored just once. The Titans and Jets are favored twice. Saints are favored once. We're going to get some more comments before we do that. Before we get to Rod Walker, let me tell you about our friends at Evangeline Securities. Of course, they're a company that can help you decide if it's the right time to sell your family-run or privately held business. And just as importantly, they can help figure out what that business is worth. That's you or someone you know, it's time to reach out to Evangeline's founding and managing partners, Nick Braden and Ron Hemelt. They will start by scheduling a complimentary valuation from their offices either on Poydras Street or in Lafayette. And from there, you'll be well informed to begin to make the decision on if you want to proceed. And they'll make you feel like a saint. They could schedule you for either noon or 3:05. No prime time here, baby. What happens after that? Well, they'll fill you in more later in the show. We'll fill you in more later in the show. But in the meantime, you can check them out at www.evangelinesecurities.com. All right, just a couple more comments before we get to Rod. Good morning, Owen. Jay Drummond, you don't know what to think? Okay. Lewis Jacobson, ready to get in the dome and relax and watch the Saints grow again. Yeah, you won't. Hey, that's one. Probably won't be a whole lot of. You won't have to worry, and you won't have sweaty palms. Lorraine, hope they all prove me wrong. I hope they do. 100% hope they prove me wrong. Mal is here. Glad the NFL is keeping potential terrible teams off of primetime games. Yeah, okay. All right. Let's get to our guest. It's become a regular occurrence, I think, that Rod Walker has come on. I think it just happened by happenstance in 2022. I don't know whether you won in 2023, but I know you were on last year too. So you're my schedule release man. And I appreciate you coming on this afternoon, this morning still here on the Dattitude podcast. Rod, what is up? I know you were excited about this schedule release.
Yeah, it's always a good time. I mean, I think a lot of times, I think we probably make more of it than a lot of people. But yeah, it's a pretty big deal. The NFL's kind of made it a big deal, obviously, and they're trying to make this. They make the NFL a year-round thing, and this is just one thing, part of their schedule.
They have made it a year-round thing, and the Saints actually made you a part of their little schedule release thing. And so each team, for the people that don't know on social media, I think every team does it now. They have their own little way of releasing the schedule, and they try to do it in a whimsical, comical way. And Rod, I cut out a piece of it because you are a part of it, and I wanted to show it to everybody here on the show today and get your reaction. A 1:45 clip of the Saints schedule release, which was partly starring Rod Walker.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks for coming out. I'd like to share a few comments. This is my first year at the Saints. I know a lot of you are still getting to know me. I'm a pretty laid-back guy. I know how to keep my cool under pressure, and I think it's a really important quality of being a head coach in the NFL. I'd also think it's important to keep a healthy and respectful dynamic with the media and the members a part of that. So behind me, you'll see my angry translator, Coach Kazi.
How's everybody doing?
He may jump in to help answer and clarify a few questions here. So with that, first question.
Coach, I know you're coming off a Super Bowl victory, but you got a really tough schedule this year. You play at Seattle. That is a difficult place to play a game.
Yeah, of course, we have a lot of respect for the fans up there, and for that program, we look forward to the challenge.
Tough? The entire NFL is tough. So whether it be Seattle's 12th man, the best man, Superman, we are going to prepare ourselves like we do any other team. You know what else is tough? Listening to you talk. Next question.
Specifically, Coach, with respect to the Falcons?
Respect to the Falcons? Says who? Respect to the Falcons? Are you serious? Don't you ask another question about the Falcons. You understand me? Next question.
Coach, if we could just quickly double back to the NFC South when it comes to the rivalry with...
I know he's about to talk about the Falcons again. You about to ask me about the Falcons again? Shut your mouth.
Rod, I saw your hand. Your hand up before. Do you have a follow-up question?
No, I'm good.
Yes, you are.
You had some fun with it, didn't you?
That was the other acting I could do, man. It was.
I didn't know you had it in you, Rod Walker.
I gotta give props to Kellen Moore for even participating in that. I don't know if he really knew like what the script was, because he came in and kind of read over his script like quickly. He didn't have a lot of time. He was in meetings and he came in and did it. So props to him for participating. I mean, he could have easily said, "Nah, I'm not doing this," but he was willing to do it. And I think it's a good thing I think the fan base, like I was looking at some of the reactions on social media, and people just they got excited to see a side of him that they hadn't seen before. And obviously Rob Kazi is a guy that's, he's a social media I don't know what you call it.
How did they get you involved? How did they explain this to you? What was going to happen in that?
They didn't actually. So what happened was they called different media members. I mean, you saw everybody in there, and
yeah.
When they called me, I was actually at French Quarter Fest, and one of the PR people called and said, we want you to be a part of this schedule release video. And I was at French Quarter Fest, so I couldn't ask any questions. It was loud. And most of the other media people, like they did follow-up questions, and they asked, okay, give me some more details. I didn't do that. I just went in there blind, not knowing what the skit was about. I didn't know it was a remake of the Key and Peele skit, the Angry Translator. I had no idea, so I just went and then
did they give you a script? They gave
us a script. Yeah, it was all okay. Yeah, we all had scripts and we read our lines and read our questions, but yeah. So
well, I thought it was. Look, at least this team is trying to have some fun. I mean, that's what this was about. So I was actually impressed with it. At first, I don't know that I even realized that it was a joke, but of course, then after about 45 seconds, I guess I kind of did. But man, whoever played the role of the angry coach did an excellent job.
That's Rob. His name's Rob Kazi, ROBKAZI. He's really popular on Instagram. I mean, he's okay. They really know who he is, and I've seen this. I mean, seen some of his stuff. He's a pretty funny dude, man. And
well, I'm glad they were holding him back, and you didn't get involved in any altercations. I could pick about 500 people I know in this world, and Rod Walker would be listed as number 500 as possibilities of getting into an altercation. So I'm just saying, as far as that goes. All right, let's talk about this schedule, Rod. And we got the crawl down there at the bottom, and I gotta say, even though we all go into the season with now much lowered expectations, maybe than we would have just a couple months ago or whatever. But I got to say, even with that, I was surprised that the Saints don't have any primetime games because, I mean, usually they stick you on a Thursday. I mean, I looked at the Jets. The Jets have 2 primetime games. They play on a Thursday and a Monday night. Now, get it's the Jets and whatever, but, I mean, you would think that you'd find a way. They'd be interested in a new coach and Kellen Moore in some way, put them on early in the season or something. But no, they didn't do that either.
Yeah, also I did think the number was going to be really low. I was thinking 1 primetime game, but for them to get go without one for the first time in 2000 is pretty incredible. I was just trying to think. I mean, if I know the Derek Carr news came out in April, so and I don't know when they finalize the schedule, but I think if this team, if you know for certain that Derek Carr is a quarterback, I think they probably get at least 1 primetime game.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And
because and they're certainly not. We talk about the odds, and I guess the crowd's going to get mad here in just a minute. We're going to have some nasty comments, I'm sure, when we say this, but I think there's no question. I mean, obviously the odds makers all along, and I've been saying this, they were right. The reason why the over/under was so low because they were basically, lack of a better way to say it, betting on the fact that Derek Carr wasn't going to play for the Saints this year. And so, I mean, I think that if he had played, like you say, they certainly would be favored in more than 1 game. I mean, when you go through the list, and I don't know how much you've looked at it or whatever, and I know you at least look at it, but DraftKings, the only game the Saints are favored in as of right now is the Jets game. They're not even favored at home against the Giants, which I found kind of crazy, Rod. But I mean, if Carr is here, there's no doubt they're favored at least 3, 4, maybe even 5 games.
Yeah, I agree. And going back to the primetime thing, I mean, yeah, they're definitely on primetime. And I'll just throw this out there. I know you don't draft quarterbacks based on, who's going to get you on TV. And I know the Saints got the guy they wanted in Tyler Shuck. But I think if this team had drafted Shedeur Sanders, and not they should have, I'm just saying.
No question.
If they would have, and he's like a guy that's probably going to be the starter, I mean, I think this team's probably on primetime 3 times this year, So I think they do. There's a lot that goes with that star power that the NFL thinks that your teams have, and that's
I agree with you wholeheartedly. I don't necessarily think if 3 maybe, but they're definitely on once or twice with Shedeur Sanders, and probably very early in the season.
Right, but I'm also surprised. I mean, Cam Ward was the number 1 draft pick.
Yeah,
and they're not on. I mean, to me, that's kind of I think a number 1 draft pick at quarterback typically gets you a spot at some point in the season. And I know they're the Titans, but, I don't know who they play this season. But, I mean, that should have been at least, maybe play the Texans and you can see them, go against C.J. Stroud or somebody. But so that was kind of a surprise to me. And the Browns obviously aren't on TV either. Kind
of indicative, Rod, of how weak this quarterback class really was, or at least – at least some people said. All right, look, I'm actually going to put the schedule up on here on the screen. Let me hide this for a second, and I kind of want to just go through it a little bit. And here, the thing that I have, Rod, I obviously any schedule in the NFL, you could say it's the second easiest or the hardest or it's middle of the pack. Look, you play in the NFL, you're going to have a tough schedule. In the grand scheme of things, it's tough. Okay, I hate to use the old cliche, but the Saints. Supposedly, if you go by records from last year, the Saints had the second easiest schedule in the NFL. That being said, I don't know that they could have put this together any tougher. So they're home 4 out of the first 6. Well, that yippee-ki-yay. But you're playing the Cardinals and the 49ers, who are both going to be really good. I mean, the NFC West might be one of the toughest divisions in football. You're starting your first 3 games are against the NFC West, and then you go to Buffalo. So, I mean, you're 3.5-point dogs against Arizona at home. And then you're a touchdown underdog at home against the Niners, touchdown dog at the Seahawks, and a 13-point underdog against the Bills. I mean, this has got 0-4 written all over to me.
Yeah, we I don't know if you've been saying about, I do my game-by-game predictions, and I posted it online last night, and it'll be in print tomorrow. But I actually had them starting off 1-3. 0-4 is probably, I mean, that could definitely happen. I did have them beating the Cardinals, and I think the Cardinals are going to be good. I just feel like I think the Dome's going to probably be really rocking, and it's a close. Out of those first 4 games, that was the one I said, okay, you might can steal this one.
They almost have to.
They almost
have to.
If you don't win that one, you're not going to win. Yeah, you're starting 0-4 if you don't win.
I mean, I just don't see. Look, and I know Seattle's not going to be great, but I can't see going to Seattle and winning. And I think San Francisco's set up to get back to the form they were at, and you're not going to go to Buffalo and win. So to me, I think 1-3 is your best bet. And that's just the tough part of looking at this schedule. And to set it up the way they set it up, Rod, and there it is again. But you look at it, and then after that, okay, Giants, maybe they'll beat the Giants or the Patriots or whatever. You got to go to Chicago. They're a touchdown underdog there. And you're home for the Bucks. But then you look, and bye week's in a great spot. But look at the away, home, away. I mean, they have a 6-week stretch where they're only playing at home one time. That should be illegal, first off.
Yeah, I mean, that's a tough schedule. We talked about the primetime thing. I think it is a good thing for Kellen Moore that they don't, everybody's like, oh, we're not on primetime, and that sucks. But the fact that you're not on Thursday night probably helps his team out. You don't have any of those short weeks that, teams dread those short weeks. So I think that helps his team out. But Jim, I got this team starting. I told you I got them going 1-3 the first 4 games. I actually have them beating the Giants at home, and I got them beating the Patriots at home.
Okay.
But then that's 3-3 right there. But then I got them losing 7 in a row. I don't see. I mean, you might can beat Carolina, but I don't see them. That stretch from the 7th game to whatever it is, 14 games, 15.
Yeah.
I don't see them winning any of those games.
Yeah,
Chicago, Tampa Bay. Yeah.
Let me put it back up on the screen. I don't know if I can get there. We go.
Yeah, I don't see them going to Chicago winning. I think the Bucks are going to be better. The Rams.
I mean,
on the road. You might can beat the Panthers on the road, but I think the Panthers are going to be improved. And I don't think you beat the Falcons. I don't think you beat the Dolphins. I don't have them winning again until the Panthers come here. That's how mine played out.
Well, I think it's a possibility. And you talk about the Buccaneers. I mean, other than the game against the Bills, where they're actually 12.5-point underdogs, but they are no bigger dogs than all the games. They're dogs against everybody except the Jets, but they're no bigger dogs other than the Bills game than against the Bucks on the road. So the odds makers obviously think very highly of Tampa Bay.
Yeah, and I do too. I just think, I think the Falcons are actually. If I had to pick a division win, I think this is the year the Falcons finally get over that hump and get past the Bucks. But I think it'll be those two teams battling for first and second in the division.
It's gonna be an interesting NFC South, I think, this year, because I think the Panthers are going to be improved as well. I mean, I don't know how good they're going to be, but we'll see. Jim Derry along with Rod Walker here on this Thursday morning, a special Thursday morning edition of the Dattitude podcast presented by Evangeline Securities. We're here on a Thursday because the schedule was released on Wednesday. I do want to talk about also not just the fact that the Saints are playing, 5 of their last 7 on the road. They played their final 2 weeks away from home. They did that last in 2019, and they won both games. Interestingly enough, one of those games again is at Tennessee, same place as it was in 2019, and then they finish at Carolina. But Rod, I mean, backloading this schedule with road games, like you said, a possibility of losing 7 in a row. That's why I'm so down on where they are, and I think the odds maker is going to be really right. I'll give you my prediction a little bit later, but I mean, to set it up this way, again, the potential to go 0-4, even if they were to win like against the Giants and Patriots and get 2 of those, you're talking about this long stretch, and then the way that it finishes, it's not just who they finish against, but where they go. And if, as well as I do, we saw the team go on a 7-game losing streak last year. Now, they tried to change it when they fired Dennis Allen, and it got better for a little bit. But, to me, that just kind of sets a tone or not the tone you want to set either, going forward.
Yeah, I mean, that's going to be the thing for this team. I mean, I think one of the good things for Kellen Moore is I think the expectations are low. Like, nobody's expecting him. If they won games this year, people are like, oh, we're going in the right direction. So I think that kind of works in his favor. I don't know how the players are going to respond to like a long losing streak if they go through one. That's going to be the key. Like, can he, get them to weather that storm, I guess, to say. So
here's an interesting part. Yeah, I agree with you, Rod. Here's an interesting part of a comment that I agree with too, and I never brought this up yet, but Earl's Pick says, gotta love week 3 and 4, both away from West Coast to East Coast. You don't see that happen very often. To me, that's I'd be shocked if they won either one of those games. But you go to Seattle and then you have to go to Buffalo. I mean, that's just not right.
Yeah, back in 2019, the last time they went to Seattle, the schedule worked out where the Saints went to LA first and then Seattle. This is the game when Drew Brees broke his hand against the Rams. But
Rams, yeah.
The Saints didn't fly back from LA to New Orleans and go to Seattle. They went straight from LA to Seattle. So we spent that entire week, in Seattle just to kind of save some, it kind of helped the team not have to do all that traveling, which obviously wears on your body too. So this is gonna be a long cross-country trip. I'm assuming they'll come back to New Orleans and go to Buffalo, but maybe they go straight to Buffalo. I don't know, but that was. You don't really see that often. Well, I'm not gonna say you don't see it often, but I don't think the Saints have had to do that often. But those West Coast trips are always hard anyway.
Is there anything that really shocked you or surprised you that the way they put this? Now, look, I'm gonna say, I said this early in the show. I've said it many times. I don't believe in NFL conspiracy theories. The NFL doesn't hate the Saints. They don't give a rat's ass. Let me see how you can put this together and make it hard. I think it just happened that way. But is there anything when you look at the schedule that really surprised you that when they, somebody had to look at it and say, okay, we got to prove every team, oh, that's not really cool for the Saints. You surprised they let anything go?
Not really. I think putting a schedule together, I don't think we realize how hard that is to try to satisfy 32 different teams. That's
right.
Not easy. When I first saw it, I was just surprised that they were starting off with 3 NFC West teams. Like, that surprised me a little bit. And the Saints don't get their first division game until 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Right here, Richard Horner says he's shocked that the Saints aren't playing a division game until week 8. So
to me, that was kind of surprising. But I follow the Steelers closely, and last year they didn't play their first division game until week 11. They played 6 division games. Out of their last 8 games of the season, 6 were division games. And and that's why they had some flaws on their team, but they struggled down the stretch because that's a lot of tough games to play. 6 games out of your last 8 all in your division, and you know how tough that division is. So, so it happens sometimes. Teams sometimes get those division games crammed like that. I think most people would rather have them spread out a little bit. I wouldn't want to start the season with a division game, which is Tampa Bay and Atlanta are starting the season against each other. To me, that's not ideal. So I think it
worked out for the Saints last year, right?
It did. It did.
Another look through this real quick. I will say this. You look at the home schedule, and although they're playing teams, I think they have just one team that finished at home that finished with a winning record last year, and that's the Buccaneers. But still, I think the Cardinals, and we can both agree that the Cardinals and 49ers, we would both be surprised if they're not much improved from last year. And then the Patriots, of course, they're going to be improved. I'm not saying the Patriots are going to be a 9-game winner or anything like that. I think the Giants and Saints will be fighting to be one of the worst teams in the league, along with the Browns and potentially the Titans. But you look at some of the other home games besides the division games, and then you got the Jets, a team you can win. But this isn't exactly a home. After those first 2 games, Rod, I'm not sure how you're going to keep fans interested in wanting to come back to home games. We might be lonely up there in the press box by around, I don't know, October 26th and November 23rd.
Yeah, it's not a sexy schedule at all. Even before the schedule came out, obviously you already know who the home and away opponents are. And I looked at it like, man, this is some. If you're just like a casual fan, you want to go to see a football game with some good players,
right?
It doesn't really give you that. But on the opposite end of the spectrum, if you like to travel, you look at the cities that the Saints are going to. I think I tweeted something out about it yesterday. Like, if you're a fan, you're not going to get much better than going to Seattle, Chicago, Miami, LA, Nashville. Those are like great cities to go to. And obviously Buffalo's because of their fan base.
I heard you talking about Buffalo on the Saints Insiders, and I know you're excited that game is when it's still warm.
Yeah, yes. Week 4, you can't beat that. So that's that'll be a good trip.
You don't have any trips this year where you'll have to wear a parka on the road, right?
Yeah. Well, Jeff Duncan and I, we split those road trips, and I always give him the Lambo, and I'm not doing that. No.
Not your thing, huh?
Not my thing. So the Colts, I guess the Titans, it could be cold in Nashville. I guess that that last weekend in December. But outside of that, I mean, the Saints kind of avoided the bad weather games, and that's a good thing for them.
So what you're saying is Duncan is going to be in Nashville the Sunday after Christmas.
For sure.
Good chance. And you can go to Atlanta after New Year's.
Good old indoor stadium. Yeah.
Exactly. Who cares if it's cold in Atlanta in January? All right, it's prediction time, Rod. I know you got you said you got it coming out. Is it coming out this
it's
morning?
posted online. It posted online late last night. So
okay, posted late last night. But tell everybody where you think this team is headed, and what was your final? I like to always ask you, what was your final? Now, again, these are subject to change. We can change our minds in August if we want to, and probably will a little bit. We'll tweak things a little bit after we see how mini camp and summer camp goes. But what do you have right now?
Yeah, and so I did put way too early prediction. I put that in the column, so I want people to know this is subject to change. So when I first went through it, I was probably being a little nice, and I had them at 6-11. I said, this is not a 6-win team. So I had to go and take one off. And I ended up the win I took off was the Titans. I had them beating the Titans at first, and at the end of the next to last game, I took it off. So I got them going 5-12 again for the second straight year. And those wins are against Arizona, which, again, I only did that one because I didn't, 0-4 was like there's a legit chance they can go 0-4. But I said, okay, we'll give them a win just because of the beginning of the season. They might can get that one. So I got them beating the Cardinals, the Jets. No, I'm not. Let me go in order. The Cardinals, the Giants, the Patriots. Won the Carolina game at home, and then the Jets.
So one division game. One division win.
Yeah, and I wouldn't be surprised if Carolina swept them. I mean, I can see them.
I wouldn't be surprised at all if that happens.
So again, I got them up to 5 wins, but I think anything over 4. I mean, to me, 4 and 5 is probably more realistic. But I mean, you look back at 2000, I think it was. I guess that was Haslow's first year.
Haslow's first year. Yeah.
Saints didn't have a primetime game that year. They ended up going 10-6. New coach. Yeah. So it's a lot.
Big difference. Big difference. They brought in a veteran named Jeff Blake, who had started for Cincinnati and then look, I will say this though, then they had to go half the season with Aaron Brooks, and they did okay. And Aaron Brooks hadn't played in the NFL yet, and they turned him into an NFL quarterback. So anything can happen, Rob, but later here on the show, you won't still be here, but we're going to talk about quarterbacks as of late, at least the last 8 to 10 years, who have been picked after the first round. It's not necessarily a great list. Let's just put it that way.
Okay.
But I'll also give
I listened to it.
I think you're a little I think you're a tinge. I'm not going to tell you what my record is just yet, but I'll just say I think you're a tinge optimistic.
Okay.
But not that that's optimistic. Not that the 5-12 is optimistic, but
yeah. I think most people probably have them at around 5-12. I mean, if you ask but
normal, the average media probably so. I mean, that's what Vegas has them at. Vegas over under is 5.5, so they think they're going to win either 5 or 6 games. I mean, that's where you look at that. So, but then you go by number. I have never seen this before. I had to go back and look. It's been a long time since the Saints were only favored one time in an entire season.
That's actually surprising to me because I think not being favored over the Giants at home kind of surprises me.
Yeah.
So maybe 2 games I could see. Yeah, one thing. Yeah, that's
Ditko was the last time they were only favored in one game. That was a long time ago. All right, Rod, I appreciate you taking time out as after the schedule comes out. Again, you said your column is up online at NOLA.com/sports/Saints. You can go check out Rod Walker and check out his way too early predictions. Anything we talk about today is way too early. We may change our minds. Rod might think this is a 10-win team in August. And I mean, I doubt it, but it's possible. I mean, right, Rod? Who knows?
I mean, Tyler Shuck would have to go 50 for 50 in training camp for me to say that. But
you never know. And lastly, before I let you go, I think you really should think about if when you decide one day to hang up your columnist cleats, you should maybe think about moving to LA, and you got acting as in your future, my friend.
I'm not acting, but thanks anyway.
All right, Rod. We'll talk to you later. All right, bye. Rod Walker, everybody. Like, seriously, go check out. He's always got some good stuff. I mean, and the way too early predictions. It is what it is. I want to get to some of these comments. I'm going to start with my friend Big Sean here. Big Sean, I want to know what you would say if Derek Carr was still quarterback in this team. Because not only is 9 wins, I mean, no other way to put it, completely unrealistic. Okay. I had a little interesting tete-a-tete with my son, who sometimes I like to call the boy genius, last night. 9-8. It's like UBN says, you'd have them 5-12 with Carr. I just want y'all to be real. I'm not telling you not to have fun. I'm not telling, how many times do I have to say, without hope, life is meaningless. So I'm not telling you not to have hope, okay? I want everyone to have hope. I am hoping, I can't tell you how much I hope I am wrong, okay? But I learned my lesson. If Vegas is telling me something, screaming something from the mountaintops, I'm not going to ignore them like I did earlier this week even. Okay, they're telling me something for a reason. Vegas isn't always right, but they're rarely ever super duper wrong. And for the Saints to win 9 games, they would have to be super duper wrong. By the way, David Bordelon, cold weather game, the Jets in December. They're not at the Jets. That game is here. Did I not put that as a here? No, let me put that up. No, it's home. I got it as a home game. Yeah, that is a home game. Yeah, just saying. Molly Mall says Carr would not play all 17 games. How do you know that? I don't agree with that at all. I think this is the year where the offensive line is much better than it was. I think there'd be an excellent chance that he would play all 17. Played all 17 games, 2 years ago. Robbo says, thank God for his Tigers. They should challenge every game they play. Yeah, they're going to be good. Barry, Big Sean says they would have been 9-8 with Carr too. Okay, well, I think you were, again, I hope you're right. I would love to say on January the 3rd or 4th or 5th or whatever, I guess the 5th would be the day after show. On January 5th, 2026, I would love to sit here and say, I got receipts. Big Sean said the Saints would be 9-8, and I'm going to show this clip. I'm going to come back and show this clip. They go 9-8. Hell, I might have you on the show, Big Sean. They go 9-8. I will have you on the show. There's my promise. Barry says 6-10. You took the over. I'm taking the way under. Mally Mouth says Carr would give us 7 wins max. Just a hater. I mean, I think the over-under, if Carr was here, would probably be 7.5, which means 7 would probably be the minimum. I think that would be the floor. If Carr was here, I'm not just saying this. I'm not trying to rile y'all up, piss y'all off, or get, y'all to type in nasty comments to me or whatever. No, being honest. I'm being serious. I'm telling you what the over-under would be if Carr were here. If Carr were here, the over-under would be either 7.5 or 8, somewhere in that neighborhood, which means that Vegas would think the Saints are going to win 7 and 9 games. He's not here, so they think they're going to win 5 or 6 games, which is, I think, a little optimistic. Mike Prema's not optimistic. 2-15 season, fellas. Who dat? Let's see what else we got. Yeah, I know Nola, man. Look, ever since I hosed you with telling you to go get those season tickets, I know you're a little feisty. You wonder what the predictions were for Sean Payton's first year when we went 10-6. Actually, did I send that to myself? Did not send that page to myself. However, I will tell you this: much better than you think. The Saints were favored in more than half their games that year. So they did not look at, and I was actually surprised when I went back and looked. And you can find, if you type in historical Saints lines, you can find it. It's a great site, by the way. It's not super easy to navigate, but you can go back and find it. Back in 2006, Saints were, I think over under wins was seven, but they were favored in, I believe 8 or 9 games. I went back and looked. Gabe says their over under was 7 in 2006. What else we got here that I wanted to show? 2025. Robbo says 2025 Saints are ran a win. I guess my biggest problem with where we are, again, I'm going to go. David Bordelon says 4-13, top 4 pick in 26 draft. Y'all keep talking about picks in the draft. Who cares? I know y'all think that matters, but it really, I mean, we've been through this before. We've been through the whole where you pick. I've proven this to you, at least as of late. Picking in the top 10 hasn't done anything for almost anyone. It's almost like it's more miss than hit. We'll have a summer show on that again. Samuel Lindsay says black and gold, play hard and inspired. You know, at least if we do see that, at least that could get you somewhat fired up, right? You definitely want to see a different kind of play because we did not see inspired play. And look, I get that it's kind of like the Pelicans were playing with the G League team the last month of the season, and the Saints were playing with if there was a such thing as a G League in the NFL. I get that, but they did not play inspired at all. Big Sean, you say the schedule is too favorable. Okay. You're going to make me call it back up. What part of these first 4 games is favorable? Seriously, that's got 0-4 written all over it. You tell me which one of those games, maybe, and I mean maybe, they win the Cardinals games. They're not beating the Niners. I don't care if they play the Niners at home, in Birmingham, or on the moon. They're not beating the Niners. Niners are going to be back to an 11 or 12 win kind of team this year. I don't know offhand what the over-under is. I'm guessing it's 10-ish, but I can promise you the Niners will be one of those teams that I bet the over on. Win total. Then you got Seattle. Seattle's not a great team, but they're going to be a good team. And on the road, Saints aren't winning at Seattle. And then at Buffalo, you can forget it. So, I mean, and the Cardinals, I'm telling you right now, the Cardinals will be much better. That's got 0-4 written all over it. And then you say, oh, well, the Giants and the Patriots. The Saints are underdog. The Giants and Patriots are both thinking the same thing you're thinking about them. Oh, great, we play the Saints. That's a win. It's no easy victory. I mean, the Patriots, who have been awful for, 2 or 3 years in a row, whatever it is. I mean, awful, not just bad, awful, are 3-point favorites in the look-ahead line to come here in week 6. Coming here. That means the Saints would be a touchdown underdog in Foxborough. That's insane. So all you just chalking that up as a win? I mean, if this team starts 1-5, which is extremely possible. I mean, 1-5 is very possible. They'll find a way to win one of those games. I don't know which one. Maybe the Giants is the most likely one. But after that, it's like Rod said, where are you going to find a win? You're not going to win at Chicago. Highly unlikely. The Bucs are the best team in the division. I still think they are. You're not going to win at the Rams. Maybe at the Panthers. Maybe bye week. Falcons. Dolphins. I mean, I want someone to find me. The over-under is 6 or 5.5. Find 6 wins on this schedule. I'm the numbnuts that told you that I bet the over before I find out about the car news. But someone find me 6 wins on this schedule. You can't. You can't with a straight face say you could find 6 wins in the schedule. Oh, we're going to beat the Falcons. You're not going to beat the Falcons. You're not beating the Falcons. Might beat the Titans. Again, Titans think the same thing. At least we'll win one at home. Jets. Yeah, okay. So you beat the Jets. Maybe you beat the Panthers once. So if you start 1-5, which I think is an extremely strong possibility, even if you start 2-4, I think that's best case scenario. You start 2-4. You're going to find me 3 other victories? Okay, Jets. Give them that. Panthers, maybe. That's 4. Maybe. That's a lot of maybes. Titans, that's 5. I can't find 6 victories on this team. I just can't. I think it's more like 3 or 4. Again, I hope I'm wrong. I'm not trying to be negative. I'm not trying to be negative, but I'm also not going to sit here and blow smoke up your keistery. This is not, I told you, this is not the show for that. I'm not going to sit here and tell you I think they're going to be good if I don't think they're going to be good. You know, this isn't Derry's Dom, but I do have a little semi-script that I put together talking about, do you know how bad they have to be not to even get a Thursday game? Hey, Raj, y'all realize you haven't screwed the Titans, Browns, and Saints by putting them on the Thursday schedule? Yeah, we can't have people falling asleep at halftime on a school night. Besides, we're trying to get Amazon to pay us $250 million for that wild card game they won. I mean, to put in context how bad Vegas thinks the Saints will be, again, I couldn't find look-ahead lines. Going back in the day, Gabe told you the over-under in 2006 was 7. Which is 1.5 better than it is now. You go back to 2006, sure, they had Sean Payton, Drew Brees, but no one outside of New Orleans spent any time thinking about either of them then. Saints were favored by 1 at Green Bay in week 2. Favored by 1 on the road at Green Bay in week 2. Doesn't matter how good or bad Green Bay was. Just goes to show you how different people were thinking about that team compared to this team. Then in week 7, they were favored. In week 5, they were favored by 7 at home against Tampa. Tampa wasn't good in 2006, but still favored by a touchdown in week 7 at home against Tampa. How about the 2005 season when they finished 3-13? By the end of the season, they should have been double-digit dogs in nearly every game. No, at 2-8, they were favored by a point at the Jets, and they covered. It was their last win of the season. Oh, and they were also favored at 3-11 when they were 3-11. Played in San Antonio against Detroit. They were favored. They lost straight up 13-12. Yeah, I don't remember that one either. If you remember that game, you're a liar. How about to start the 2000 season after the train wreck? Ditka left with 6-10, 6-10, and 3-13. They were pick 'em in the opener at home against Detroit and lost. Then 3 weeks later at home, favored by 1.5 against Philly. They lost, dropped to 1-3. So, I mean, you're thinking now this team is the same team that Dick had 90 and 97, 98, 99. That's what you're thinking. They were 1-3, but they were pick 'em again in 2 weeks later against the Panthers. Then they won 24-6 and things started changing. The last time the Saints were favored just once in the season, I told you this, 1998. Dick's team, they went 6-10 and they were 10-6 against the spread. What I'm saying is you have to be thought of as incredibly bad to be a dog in nearly every game. And I know you'll hate me for bringing this up, but it has everything to do with the quarterback situation. I mean, I know y'all are screaming at your phones or your iPads or your car radios for being negative, but I'm directing this to all the people who have been screaming for change. Enjoy the change you're going to get. Mentally, you should prepare yourself for a Saints team we haven't seen the likes of in possibly, 20 years. Could be a run similar to those Ditka days. This isn't a 1 or 2 year kind of bad, unless Tyler Shuck turns out to blow away all expectations. Last word coming up today. Again, Gabe's going to come on in just a minute, and I got some more comments to show. But the last word today, I'm actually going to involve y'all in the last word today. Because it is going to be about second-round quarterbacks. I have 2 lists to talk to y'all about. It's going to be the NFL's top 10 top 10 second-round draft picks of all time. It's an interesting list. I want to read some of them to you. Not all of them. And then I also want to go through some of the picks, not just second-round picks. And I'm not just trying to, knock on Tyler Shuck, all of y'all that are excited about Tyler Shuck. But I'm trying get you to be a realist like I was last year when I told you that the Saints weren't smarter than a 5th grader and Spencer Rattler wasn't going to be the future of this team. There's a reason why I was saying what I said. It's the same thing. I'm not necessarily saying there's no chance for Tyler Shuck to be anything. I want to put it into context, okay? So the last word today is going to be about quarterbacks not picked in the first round as of late. A couple of comments before we get to Gabe here. Hakeem, big dog, where you at? Glad to see you. David Bordelon says the one of the worst schedules in recent memory. UBN says, send me. I love the cold. I love the cold, but I don't like going on the road anymore. So if I don't have to go on the road, I ain't going on the road. What else we got here? Mally Mal. So I'm saying if Carr would win the Saints a playoff game. When did I say that? If you got receipts and I said that somewhere, go ahead, show me. I think they would have a chance to get to the playoffs 100%. They'd have a legit. I think this would be a team that would win somewhere between 8 and 10 games if Derek Carr was here. And if they were at the top end and won 10 games, they'd get to the playoffs. I said it before. I'll say it again. Jay Tugger Rafferty, the Saints are 9-8. Better mean Chuck is the real deal. Saints are 9-8. I'll legitimately eat a crow. I won't show pictures of crows squawking. I'll eat whatever the nastiest po' boy we can think of. I'll eat it on the air and have Sean. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. UBN. Loyola's winning 6-0 after 3. There you go. Make it to the NAI World Series. Daryl Romero says, I don't care what the record is, just glad it's one of those 32 cities that has a team. I'm with you on that. I'd much rather, I'll tell you what, I would take 0-17 4 years in a row over not having a team. Amen on that one. I'm with you wholeheartedly. Kyle Sherman, last year, Carolina was horrendous early, competitive late. Hoping we go from bad to decent throughout the year. You're forgetting that they were absolutely horrendous the year before that. So they went through a year and a half worth of crap, Kyle. I'm not trying to poo-poo on your dreams. But, I mean, they went, what were they, 1-15 2 years ago? And so they were better. It took them a year. So that's what I'm talking about. This is not even, I think it's way more than a 2-year rebuild, because if Shuck doesn't work out, and again, I'm going to give you reasons why I don't think he's going to work out. If I'm wrong, great. I can see people are dropping them. They don't want, God forbid, the only person you could say bad things about on this show or any Saints show, if you talk bad about anyone other than Mickey Loomis and Derek Carr's going now, we don't even want you to talk about Derek Carr. We're just not going to watch anymore. Just be realistic. 49ers total is 10.5. I'm betting the over on that. Which game are we favored? Brian's asking. There on the bottom of the screen, you might have missed it easily. The Saints are favored by 1.5 at home against the Jets. Rockies predictions: Panthers once, Falcons once, not beating the Falcons. Jets, Giants. You're not beating Cards and Niners. 0.0. There's a 0.0 chance the Saints start 2-0. And I mean 0. If there was negative chances, I would give you negative chances. Negative 0 point. There is no such thing. I don't care. Just like there's no Ides of May. There's a negative 0.0 chance the Saints start 2-0. You're out of your box. Cards and Niners. If you really believe that, you should take you should take whatever you can afford to take. I'm not advocating betting when you can't afford, but you could make a nice chunk on the money line parlay right now. Go put that down on the money line parlay. In fact, you know what? Hold on. I'm going to tell you what it would pay. Here live on the screen, I'm going to go click the box. I'm going to click the box. We're doing this on live television. There's one in a parlay and tell you what it pay. Even if you just put $10 down on it. Again, I'm not advocating you do. I'm just telling you if you wanted to do this. If you put $10, they're not even letting me parlay it. They're like, hey, dummy. Gabe, do me a favor and find out if you could do this, plus 280 and plus 160. If you parlay plus 280 and plus 160, what does that get you? He'll come back and he'll tell me. Terrence, welcome. Haven't seen you in a while. Apathy says the Jets shouldn't get any primetime games. The They'll never do that to a New York team. It's not just a New York team. It's a new New York team. It's a new New York team. That's the difference. Let's see. Kyle Sherman says we need some patience. All we need is just a little patience. Yeah, I did that online. I did that live. Rocky says he will bet it and post his ticket. Please do it. Sean says the turnover on the 49ers roster gives you hope. It gives you hope. There it is. Gabe, quick as a whistle, boy. Plus 888. If you put $10 down on it and the Saints start, when I tell you 0.0, if you need to have your head examined. That's no value. That's awful value, actually. You bet $10, you get $88.80 back if they go 2-0. I wouldn't bet that if it was like plus 3,000. If I bet $10 and was getting 300 back on it, I wouldn't bet. There wouldn't be value in that. Cray. UBN says just send him the money. He'll donate it to charity. Jay Tucker Rafferty says, one thing about the 49ers, they lost a bunch of good players on D. If I'm not mistaken, they lost 3 starting DBs and 2 starting line. Okay, who they lost? Lance. Who dat, baby? Who dat? All right, let's bring in Gabe. I know Gabe's got some. He's going to keep it positive, brother. You're going to keep it positive, aren't you? Hold on. Before you start, hold on real quick. I know you don't mind when I do this. It's important. It's important that we told you earlier. We'll let you know more about how Evangeline Securities can help you figure out what your family run or privately held business might be worth and whether it's time to sell. How do they do it, you ask? I'm glad you asked anyway. Well, after their complimentary valuation of your company, if you decide to proceed, native New Orleanians Nick Braden, Ron Hemelt, and the folks at Evangeline will begin an extensive auction process among established private equity funds from around the world, and they'll maximize the return for the founder and his or her family. Evangeline Securities is the top producer on their platform. There are very few companies like them in this area, and none, and I mean none, their dedication and success. They're fully licensed, ready to serve you, so get in touch with Nick and Ron about what's really important. It's not who the Saints play in week 1. It's not who they play in week 8. And it's certainly not about who they play in week 17. Gabe, what is really important?
I think it's the rest of your life.
Absolutely. You can find him at www.evangelinesecurities.com. He's right again, boys and girls. He's right again. All right. Gabe, what we got here? But Terrence says, as long as y'all are okay with losing, they're building something. We don't know what, but they're building something. Apathy says, at least the run defense will be tested in that 49ers game. UBN's talking smack because he's a Niners fan. Big Sean says, how much did I lose when I made that bet the car? I didn't lose anything on that, Big Sean. What I lost was I lost that the night, again, I told you the night before, I lost that the Saints would win 6.5 or more than 6.5 games this year. So I ain't hitting that. I've already chalked that off as a loss. So it's not that I didn't bet anything that Carr would start the season, but I basically lost because I bet on the Saints that they're not going to win now. Anyway, Mally Mouse says, find the nastiest po' boy to eat because Kellen Moore might win 7 games. Okay, go ahead, Gabe. I'll leave you. I'll let you start off on that note.
Yeah, and if I look at right now, pigs might be flying.
Saints did win the Super Bowl. I mean,
yeah.
So, I mean, you don't know pigs have flown the whole, you probably don't realize. Jim Henderson's call, pigs have flown, hell is frozen over. The Saints are going to the Super Bowl.
No, very cliche phrase. But Rocky said no loss on offense was the biggest bum on the field. Okay, here's the thing, Rocky, is sure, you bring back everyone on offense except the most important piece. Do you realize that the Saints were 24th in total last year? Do you realize they scored 19.9 points per game?
Better than 0.0.
You realize 0.0, the amount of wins that the quarterback room has right now, the amount of games that your head coach has coached in the NFL.
You're just hating.
Do you realize that?
You're hating.
I'm not hating. I just think and who has a positive outlook on this season is ignorant or has
No.
blinders on.
Hold on. It's not. There are some people that have a positive outlook. To say anyone, I don't have a positive outlook on the season because I don't necessarily like the direction that I don't like this whole rebuild thing. However, you being. However, to say that a lot of people have a positive outlook because they're okay with 4-13 because they think it's going to be this. Okay, because they think it's a positive start to where they want this team to go in the near future.
Perfectly understandable, and I agree with that. I think the foundations are going to be laid this season.
Yeah, I don't feel that way necessarily.
I've seen comments in this comment stream saying they're going to have a winning record. They're going to win the division. That is not going to happen. And please, it is May 15th. You have until mid-September to tell yourself that that's not going to happen. I know hope is nice, but you're putting yourself in a position to be let down here. You really are. This very well could be the worst team in the NFL this year.
It could be. I doubt it, but it could be. It could be.
It could be. I believe the ceiling, and all of this is, I will preface it with a disclaimer, as we all do. The team as it's currently constructed, that is with Tyler Shuck or Spencer Rattler going out there at quarterback. I believe the ceiling of that team is 5 wins.
The ceiling of this current team that's coming up? Yeah.
Yes. I believe it's 5 wins this season.
I think well, yeah.
And I believe
don't think that's not a bad
line
pick
that Vegas has set is just. I think.
Yeah, I don't. There's only a couple I even kind of have a beef with, and one of them is that they're it's not even that they're an underdog. One of them is I don't think the Saints, and there it is on this crawl right now. The Saints should be 9.5 point favorite underdogs at the Bucs. That's a little high. They're not that much worse than it's a division game. I would go back. I'd like to see the last time. I mean, the Saints lost to. I don't know.
I think on paper, right now, are 10 points better than this. I think that's fair. That's not going to win by 10. Sit here and talk with the Saints against.
I mean, they're not going to go 0-17 against the spread.
Here's the thing. No, they will inevitably win a game that they are an underdog in.
Yeah, they're going to win. They might win 2 or 3.
Looking at all of these spreads, I think they're fair. I think, and this was a point that you and I kind of disagreed on last night. I think the Giants should be favored. No way. Orleans. I think that is completely fair.
That's absurd.
Yeah. The New Orleans Saints do not have a single position on the field that is better than the New York Giants.
I'll go through piece by piece, but I'm probably not going to agree with that. Well, I can tell you right now, I guarantee you their running backs aren't better than the Saints running backs. You can say
they are
you want.
What?
They don't. Alvin Kamara? Get out of here.
Tyrone Tracy put up similar statistics in 3 games Tracy started last year. Was a rookie. And he's putting up comparable numbers to Alvin Kamara, who is supposed to be in his. They are what and what.
I'm taking Alvin Kamara over Tyrone Tracy at 30 years old every day for breakfast, lunch, dinner, and a midnight snack. That's absurd. Defensive line.
I'm taking going into next year. I'm taking Tyrone Tracy.
Okay, well, you can take Tyrone Tracy.
He put up comparable numbers. Started 3 fewer games as a rookie.
I don't care. I mean that's absurd.
I think it's crazy to ignore.
Well,
that.
and then you go to the Patriots. The Patriots aren't a 3-point team on the road better.
With Mike Vrabel as head coach, they are better.
Coaches, you know as well as I do. You've been writing about sports betting for multiple years now. You know that
defensive back, wide receiver. Are you crazy? All right.
I actually think the Saints O-line is better than the Giants O-line right now.
The O-line is the one that I will concede you can have conversations there. They're in running back. They're about. But wide receiver, not a chance.
This is Jay Tucker. Now you're getting crazy. Tracy's not getting beat up by Scottabelle. Anyway, All right.
I don't think so either. I think Tyrone Tracy is. I think he's a lot better than people give him credit for.
You got
I
anything
think,
else to press my buttons on because you're?
No, I knew that would get going though. But I don't think. I think the Patriots with Mike Vrabel are definitely.
I'm running out of
way
racetrack.
better. I think Mike Vrabel tips the scales in that game.
But again, this is what my point of this. I'm not saying it does or doesn't tip the scale on whether the Patriots are a better team. We're talking about lines, and that means that the Saints would be a touchdown underdog in Foxborough,
Correct.
which is incredibly absurd. And you know as well as I do. Again, you've been writing about sports betting for multiple years now. Okay, you know as well as I do that a coach doesn't move a line more than a point or so. Two tops.
No, but the way he plays the game does. The Patriots this season are going to do things that will give teams trouble. They're going to focus on running the ball, putting it down teams' throats.
I don't necessarily disagree with that.
Stop the run.
And if they can
stop the run against the Saints, I think they're going to have a lot of success.
What is the over? I mean, you don't look it up, but do you know the over/under on the Pats on the top of your head?
Over/under win total?
Yeah. Do you know it?
I believe it's 8.5.
Oh, I'm definitely, absolutely, 100% betting under on that.
So it's 7.5 or 8.5. I was looking.
Okay, 7.5. I might not touch it. If it's 8.5,
Well, okay,
I'm 100%.
You've got to consider, Jim, if you're looking at a lot of sites. That's DraftKings I'm looking at.
Yeah, you can shop, right?
The lowest totals that DraftKings has over under 6.5. No team has worse than over under 6.5.
Saints are only like
Saints are 6.5.
No, they're minus 125. You can bet them at under 4.5. I mean, over under 4.5.
Yeah, but their regular their over under win total is 6.5.
No, they don't have a number like that. They have it's like plus 155 / minus 180. No, it would be 5-ish. It's like plus 155 at 6.5. That means 5.
Yeah, but they don't have a line for 5 posted. That's what I'm saying.
Right, they will.
And if you look at the Browns as well, the Browns are the only team that are favored to have a worse season than the Saints right now.
Right, and the Saints are, but the Browns are higher up in the Super Bowl odds.
I've actually seen a lot of people talking about the Patriots as a sneaky playoff contender.
No way. Please, by all means.
I'm not. The AFC is very top heavy, so I wouldn't rule it out. I don't think they will get there. I think the NFC West and the AFC West and AFC will each get
I think
the remaining spot.
The Patriots aren't as good as the Dolphins. They always struggled with the Dolphins anyway, and
I think they'll be better than the Dolphins this year. I think the Dolphins are a dumpster fire.
No, we got a ways. And look, I'm going to back you up here. Mal, look, come on, man. He's just disappointed about his team. His team is the Texans are clear. The Texans clearly are the best team, and you want to talk about bad division.
My team is going to win the division.
By default. I mean, just like Tampa Bay is going to probably win the NFC South by default. I mean,
I think the Texans have less competition for the AFC South.
I don't disagree with you. I mean, that's going to be a pretty easy one. All right, last thought before we move on, because I am going to end the show before the 1:30 mark today, even if I just have to hit the button in mid-sentence. Go ahead.
Let me just real quick on that comment. I'm not disappointed about my team. I am talking to a fan base who is going through something similar to what I went through with my team a few years ago.
Yeah.
This team is not if I'm talking to Saints fans and I'm telling you guys what to prepare for the season. Jim, I know you hate this. You want to win as many games as possible. If I'm going into the season as a Saints fan, I just want them to be as competitive as possible in as many games. Not necessarily win. I just want to see this young core be competitive. And really grow as a team throughout the season.
Yeah, and I don't disagree with you because I don't want to look, I hope Chuck works out. Because I do not want to have to say the same exact shit next year that we're saying right now and having to because I've heard so many numbnuts, morons, whatever you want to call them, actually say on the air, well, I mean, if the Saints suck this year and Chuck doesn't work out, they can just go pick a quarterback in next year's draft. Well, you know what that means? That means this year was completely wasted. and next year you're starting all over again. And so it's still then you're restarting the clock again. So yes, I do have a problem with if you just go into next year and say, oh, it doesn't matter, we can just start over and pick another quarterback next year. No, it does matter. You wasted our time again.
You want Shuck to be a good player.
Of course you do.
I know you're going to talk about that. And the one thing I do want to, Sean, none of the Saints quarterbacks have proven anything. Drake May has shown infinitely more potential than anyone on the Saints roster. And then Jay talking about the Patriots have no skill players. We're talking about a coach who, with Ryan Tannehill as his quarterback, made an AFC championship game.
Yeah, but you were dissing all over him back then.
Who, Tannehill?
You were hating all over the Titans.
I hate the Titans. I love Mike Vrabel. I love Mike Vrabel. Mike Vrabel was a defensive coordinator and an assistant here.
I know. And I
love him. He's a fantastic coach. I think New England, in not this year, in a few years, is going to be really good.
I don't disagree with that. I just don't think it's going to be this year. I agree that I
don't think they're. I think
they have their coach.
Be a playoff team this year.
I think they have their coach for a long time.
I agree. I think they could be the second best team in that division this year. I'm not saying they'll be a playoff team.
Yeah.
I think
I'd be very.
I wouldn't be surprised only because Miami can look that offense with Tua. If Tua gets hurt, if Tyreek Hill is
Vrabel will run circles around that little Gucci wearing nerd they got as a coach. I can't stand that dude. He is a whack job, and he won't be there long. I've made my You like him because you're young and he's young and he probably plays Xbox and whatever. So I don't know. Anyway,
does Kellen Moore play Xbox?
I don't. You know what? I bet you if he does, it's only because he's drawing plays and he wants to see how they work on the Xbox. That would be the only reason why I'd do.
If your coach is using Madden to draw up plays, you're in for some trouble because that is
I'm not saying he did it.
Realistic game.
Maybe I'll get to ask him one day.
I don't know. I like Kellen Moore. I mean, realistically, I don't think this season.
Oh, I love Kellen Moore. I think it's
Kellen Moore's coaching ability at all.
I feel bad for him coming into the situation.
Really shitty hand.
Yeah, he really has. But he accepted his shitty hand. So
yeah, and I hope that the Saints, realize that, and I think they do.
So say, all right, let's roll. I will talk to you on Monday. Have a good weekend.
Sounds good. You too.
Gabe Henderson, everybody. All right, I do want to get to. I want to have a little fun. Kellen Moore plays poker, does he? Does he? How do you know? I know Mickey Loomis plays poker. Maybe they played poker together. Does he really play poker? Because I'm a huge poker player, by the way. That makes me like him even more. I say I'm a huge poker. I used to be a huge poker player. Now I'm just a poker player. All right. Kellen Moore is an upgrade over. Well, of course, Jack Hunter. I don't know you from Adam, but you would be an upgrade over Dennis Allen. Terrence, we should play together. Love poker. Hey, man, I'll tell you where I play, and I'll tell you on the side where I play. And if you want to come join the game, you can. I don't know if you live in New Orleans. Lewis Handel, I'm excited to watch Kellen's offense at work. Me too. I'm not excited. Look, don't get me wrong. Everything I say here about what I'm expecting, everything I say about what I'm expecting going future doesn't mean that I'm not. I don't remember who said it earlier. They're just glad that the Saints have a team. And look, I said this today. I've said it last year. I say it all the time. I'd be miserable. I'd be bitching a storm. But I would take an 0-17 team in my hometown that went 0-17 4 years in a row, then take no team. Now, if they went 0-17 that many times, they'd probably get rid of them. But, I mean, look, we got a team. There is hope. I mean, just because what I think is going to happen, obviously, look at all the media people who thought the last 3 years that the Saints are going to be better than they're over. Almost everybody, if you took the last 3 years and you took the 30 or so media members who were making predictions on over-unders, you'd probably have, and I'm not exaggerating when I say this, it's probably 82 overs and 8 unders on win-loss records. You probably had 82 out of the last 3 years people take the over Whatever the win total is, pick it. Doesn't last year, 2 years ago, 3, it doesn't matter. Fanboys love them. Okay? Now everybody's going to be down on them, including me. So maybe we're going to be wrong again. Maybe we'll be wrong for the 4th year in a row, except we'll be wrong the other way. Could happen. I don't think it's going to happen because when I look at the schedule, I mean, realistically, I don't see 6 wins. I certainly don't see 7 if it's over under 6.5. I certainly don't see 7. And again, 0.0 on starting 2-0. That is a brutal start to the schedule. I'll let it crawl one more time before I take it off because we're about to move into something else here. But that is for the schedule that they have, for a schedule that's supposed to be quote unquote easy, that's as tough as it gets to start. I mean, it really is. Terrence, do I play PLO? I don't like playing PLO. So, I mean, I would, but I don't like it. If I go to the casino and that's all they have open, I might play it for a little while, but that's like playing bingo to me. So not really. Lance Dobart says, Kellen killed Spags, who may be the best D coordinator. It's one game. Right. I don't disagree with you. He definitely killed him in that game. I know he had talent, but the Saints offense isn't devoid of talent. Running back, wide receiver, offensive line are talented. I don't disagree with that. The problem is none of that matters if you don't have a quarterback. Okay. The reason why the Eagles were as successful as they were, and look, comparing the Saints offensive line, first of all, to say they're talented, there's a big difference when you're talking about Saquon Barkley compared to what the Saints have. Okay. Comparing A.J. Brown to anything that's in Devontae Smith to anything that's in the Saints wide receiver room, that's ridiculous comparison. You can't compare the Eagles offensive line to anything that the Saints have. Sorry, you can't do it. So yeah, but you're comparing oranges to elephant nuts. I mean, it doesn't make any sense. So yeah, I understand what he did, and I'm not saying, look, he has a chance to be a great coach. I hope he is, but you can't compare that. You just can't compare that. That's not the same thing. All right, let's move on to the last word here. And again, I want y'all to be a part of the last word. So this last word is different than the ones we've had, and it's about quarterbacks drafted after the first round. And the first thing I have for you, because if I haven't pissed you off enough today, this is going to piss you off. And I'm not doing it. I'm doing it more to be funny, okay? So take this lightly, okay? Don't get mad when I tell you this, okay? When we go through some of these. The first thing I want to talk about real quick is the NFL.com did something. When was this run, by the way? I can't see when this was run. This was not run the last year or two. It's not old, but it's older. Okay. So it's the top 10 quarterbacks in NFL history who were drafted in the second round, which is where Tyler Shuck, I'm not saying Tyler Shuck is going to be one of the best or whatever. We're having fun with this. Okay. I'm just letting you know that ahead of time. We're going to have fun with this. So again, the NFL.com, this is from 2017. So this is kind of old. Oh, no, that's just a pick. Never mind, I take it back. It's not from 2017. This is from like 3 years ago. Top 10 quarterbacks ever to be drafted in the second round. Now, for those of you who know NFL history or know it better than I do, and I know it pretty well, I would not have realized, I forgot. The first two are easy. Okay, when I saw number one, I'm like, absolutely. So most of you are going to say number two should be number one. I'm going to say they're what and what. Doesn't matter. They're interchangeable. Okay. So the top 10 quarterbacks who were drafted in the second round in NFL history. Again, this was done a few years ago. Number one, Brett Favre. I mean, come on. Number two, you're going to say he should be number one. It's Drew Brees. Okay, that's easy. All right. I'm going to skip number 3 for a minute. Number 4, Boomer Esiason. Pretty good. Randall Cunningham's number 5. Fine. Number 6, former Saint. Andy Dalton is number 6. That's the 6th best quarterback. Now, granted, again, this is a little old. This is a few years old. So Jalen Hurts was drafted in the second round. So he would probably be in here now. Another Eagle, number 7, Ron Jaworski. Number 8, Jake Plummer. He was okay. Number 9, Cordell Stewart. Number 10, you got to go way back. Number 10 is Neil Lomax. But number 3, I skipped on number 3 for a reason. You got it, Terrence. Derek Carr is number 3. Is Tyler Shuck going to be better than Derek Carr? If he is, he's got to be the best second-round quarterback in the history of the game, except for Brett Favre or Drew Brees, or maybe Jalen Hurts. If you want to say, okay, that's old, you can move Jalen Hurts to 3. Even if you do, whatever. I wouldn't, but okay. Haters. Another little exercise we're going to have some fun with. I want to go through not some quarterbacks, recent quarterbacks. We'll go back until we feel like stopping. I don't know. I said we're going to go off the air at 1:30. Obviously, I lied again. The quarterbacks who were not drafted in the first round, okay, over the past, I don't know, again, until we feel like stopping. Now, last year, you had 6 guys go in the first round, and the next quarterback to go was the Rat in round 5. So I'm just going to start there. Last year, Spencer Rattler, Jordan Travis, Joe Milton, Devin Leary, and Michael Pratt were not drafted in the first round. Quarterbacks that didn't go in the first round in 2023. How many of these would you say are good? We got Will Levis. Okay, Will Levis, by the way, I put some stats down on Will Levis. Where is it? He started 21 games in the NFL. 21 touchdowns, 21 interceptions, even with my limited Shaw Mass skills. But that's like the best of the best up there, at least in the last few years. So after Will Levis in 2023, you got Hendon Hooker. Remember, he was going to be great. Now, that was an older rookie. Now, he came out hurt. Maybe he'll be something someday. Maybe he won't. Hendon Hooker, done nothing yet. Guess who's after Hendon Hooker? Oh, that'd be Jake Haener. Then Gabe Henderson's favorite, Stetson Bennett. Aiden O'Connell, Clayton Tune, Dorian Thompson-Robinson, Sean Clifford, Jaron Hall, Tanner McGee, Max Dugan. I don't even know how many of those are still in the NFL. 2022 after round 1. There was only one taken in the first round of the 22 draft, which was a draft similar to this one, I think. Kenny Pickett. After that, Desmond Ridder, no thanks. Malik Willis, Matt Corral, that would be a no. Bailey Zappi, Sam Howell, Chris Oladikan. I don't even know who the hell that is. Skylar Thompson played a little bit. And then Mr. Irrelevant, this one worked out. Brock Purdy. Okay, you got one. So you got one out of how many? How about this? Let's go back to 2021. After the first round, there were 5 quarterbacks drafted in the first round of the 2021 draft. Then in the second round, how about Kyle Trask? Then Davis Mill, then Ian Book. Remember him? And Sam Ellinger. Oh, yeah, he worked out. Okay. Not. How about going back again? I told you Jalen Hurts. So you got to go all the way back. There are 2 decent quarterbacks. I'm all the way back now in the 2020 draft. Quarterbacks that weren't taken in the first round. You got to go back to 2020 to get 2 of them. Jalen Hurts was in the second round. The rest of that draft after the second round, Jacob Eason, James Morgan, Jake Fromm, Jake Luton, Cole McDonald, Ben DiNucci. Oh, Tommy Stevens with the Saints, Nate Stanley. You see where I'm going with this? I'm trying to give you realistic expectations. Gabe says, dare I say Davis Mills is better than every quarterback in the Saints roster right now? I don't know, because we don't know what Shuck's going to be. Is someone actually comparing Shuck to Jaden Daniels? I don't know. I'm not. If y'all want to comment, now's a chance to get it in. Let's go back. How about one more year? Go back to 2019. Again, you see where this is going. Drew Lock, Will Greer, Ryan Finley, Jarrett Stidham, who did play a little bit, and isn't he a backup for the Broncos now? Easton Stick, a free agent who played with the Chargers for a little bit here and there. Clayton Thorson. Oh, there's Gardner Minshew. Woo! Gardner Minshew. He might work out, but Saints ought to go think about getting him wherever the hell he is. Trace McSorley. Year before that. 18. We're back to 2018. Mason Rudolph. Okay, whatever. Kyle Loletta. Mike White, who ended up being okay. Again, okay. Luke Falk-Tannerly. Danny Etling, LSU. Alec Magoo, Logan Woodside. I mean, now we're back to 2017. Deshaun, you get where this is going. I can't find any. The point is, if you don't have a quarterback that's not in the second round, I mean, now you go back and you go to 2016 and Dak Prescott was taken in the 4th round. Brandon Allen ended up playing for a little bit. He got drafted in the 6th round. Year before that, Saints also in 2015 were the first team. This is 3 years out of the last 10. See, you don't realize this. Do you realize this? The Saints are 3 times in the last 3 years, the Saints have taken a quarterback, the first team to take a quarterback, not in the 1st round. They did it in 2015 with Garrett Grayson. And then you got to go back 2014, and I'm not saying this to be funny, but it's true. Derek Carr was taken in the 2nd round. Jimmy Garoppolo was taken in the 2nd round. So you go back 11 years and you can find, but so like 5 quarterbacks in the last 11 years. 5 quarterbacks in the last 11 years were not drafted in the 1st round. And Gabe says Dak was only a 4th rounder because of a DUI that he had. Big Sean Rattler is way better than Ian Book. We can agree on that one. I don't disagree with that at all. Terrence is saying my point is made. Minshew, woohoo. Terrence, am I okay with the Saints losing if they build until 2027 and make the playoffs 5 straight years? You're putting a hypothetical that doesn't make any sense. The Saints have never made the playoffs 5 straight years, ever. They've never made the playoffs 5 straight years. You're giving me a hypothetical that isn't realistic, Terrence. So, I mean, yeah, but that's not going to happen. My point is this. My point is surrounding Tyler Shuck and what I said right before we got to this point. And we'll leave it with this. I mean, if you want to comment, feel free. I'll show it. My last word is your last word today. You're expecting Tyler Shuck to do something that hardly anyone else has done, which means that this team is probably, not definitely, but probably going to be in this same position again next year. And if you do that, if this team is in the same position on this schedule release day, again, without hope, life is meaningless. Hope I'm wrong. Prove me wrong, please, for the love of God. We're going into this season with a quarterback that has to do something that only 4 or 5 other quarterbacks have done in the last 10 or 11 years. And that's be a quarterback that wasn't drafted in the 1st round, turn out to be something. It just, that's why I have a problem with all this. Another reason why a rookie head coach, it's a horrendous idea to go into a season with an uncertain rookie quarterback. No matter how much you believe in your scouting, a quarterback picked in a class of quarterbacks that is considered one of the weakest, that's another thing. You're talking about a quarterback, not only was he picked in 2nd round, but he's picked in the 2nd round of a class that is considered one of the weakest quarterback classes in recent history. I mean, besides 2020, it reminds you of 2022 when there were only 1 taken in the 1st round. Mind you, a little bit of 2015. You had Jameis Winston, Marcus Mariota, and then not until the 3rd round, Saints picked Grayson. That's where we are. 2013 was pretty bad. E.J. Manuel was picked in the 1st round, then Geno Smith in the 2nd round. That turned out to be okay. I mean, not great, but okay. But it took him a long time before he was okay. Geno was not good at first and then got better. So, anyway, that's where this team is right now. So, again, I hope I'm wrong. Showing you right. We can say what he's going to be until evidence speaks on the field. No doubt about it. I'm giving you precedence, okay? I'm trying to I'm not telling you shouldn't have hope, but this is a show based off of reality. And reality tells you what Tyler Shuck is going to have to overcome. Okay. And if the quarterback isn't among one of those guys, isn't one of those 5 quarterbacks in the last 11 years that's turned out to be something, and he isn't that early on, then we're going to be in the same position next year. And so to answer the question of whether I would take all these years of rebuilding, there's multiple reasons why the rebuilding isn't just as easy. It's not just as easy as you think. You don't just start rebuilding. I mean, yeah, you got to start somewhere. But to me, okay, you're building in the trenches. That's great. That part of it, I agree with. I love it. But you're going to go into your season with, if you got to pick a quarterback again next year? Natural Nate says Shedeur is going to show all the haters wrong. I mean, that's a wholly different team. No offense to Shedeur Sanders, but I really don't care because he doesn't play for the Saints. But, I mean, on that side of things, Shedeur's got to be able to play to prove the haters wrong. You think he's going to play? I don't know. Terrence is just trying to be hopeful. Look, I hear you. I'm not saying you shouldn't be. Again, I think you should. Everyone should be hopeful. Just be realistic. Be realistic. All right. That is probably going to, I don't know what that means today. We got Gabe wasn't, we had a comment that needed to go bye-bye. It's gone now. All right. Let's see. Samuel Lindsay says Gino had to get beat up by a teammate before he got to pitch. I mean, I don't know what got into Gino, but man, he went from being, I thought, just a waste of a roster spot to being, I mean, you got to consider Geno Smith's a top 13 or 15 quarterback on Gabe, you think? Top 15? Iffy. Maybe not. I don't know. Trying to be nice, I guess. Sean says 5 quarterbacks of Cleveland. It's an uphill battle. Yeah, it is. I hear you. Big Sean, I understand this. Reality tells you Carr ain't a saint no more, and you're glad about that. I can get that. Even though I don't agree with you, I get it. But that's not, because Carr's gone isn't a reason to be hopeful. That's not a good reason to be hopeful because Carr's gone. I mean, a good reason to be hopeful is that you have a new coach who you have a new coach, you have an offensive line that is way better, and maybe you have some young pieces on defense you're excited about, but I don't know. The quarterback situation, I guess, just bothers me to hell. Last comment of the day. GP, I'm not sure. Welcome to the Dattitude family. Goal of the season should be to look better by the end than they look at the beginning. I agree 100% on that. I mean, I do think the record, I'm not like other people say the record doesn't matter, because I do think the record matters. But I definitely agree with that statement that the goal should be to look better. But then that also means that you're just like, forgo. This team, I tell you right now, not just GP, I'm telling everybody, this team doesn't have it in them to not have the ego to think that they're not going to be competing for a championship. So what I mean when I say that is I don't know that they have the capability to have a true rebuilding process. That's what worries me more than anything. Y'all are all talking about rebuilding, and yes, in the grand scheme of things, that's what it looks like this team is doing. But I don't know that they have the capability to think like they're rebuilding, if that makes any sense. What I'm basically saying, Sean says, is this roster is worse than last season. I'm saying there are pieces that aren't worse than last season, but when you don't have a quarterback, look what happened when the Saints didn't have a quarterback last year. I don't care who was playing along. The G League players weren't playing with Rattler the whole time. So and I'm not bashing Rattler, but I'm just saying, when you don't have a quarterback, it doesn't matter what else you have. That's what I'm saying. Michelle Castro Arreglado Neesmith. I just love saying that name. Building a new team is continuous learning with trials and errors. It takes 2 years to build a team. Right. But if you don't have a quarterback and then you got to go pick another one next year, then you're starting the clock all over again. It's like playing baseball and the lightning strikes and you got to start the whole, and then you wait 28 minutes because you got to wait 30 minutes to the light, and then lightning strikes, you got to start the clock over again. Same thing. You need support for him, the good and the bad. I don't disagree. You don't need to have support for him, but y'all didn't want to support this team. The last year, I've been telling everybody to support the team, and y'all been telling me to piss off. Now you want to support? I'm not telling you. Yeah, of course you should support them. Amen. 100%. Please support them. Go to the games. Cheer. 100%. I want you to, last time I'll show this today. There's your schedule. Last home game, December 21st against the Jets. Don't go Christmas shopping. Go to the Saints-Jets game. Please, by all means, go see 2-13 versus 2-13. You should definitely do that and cheer your hearts out. Don't 100%. Please, by all means, do that. So then you got to start all over. You got my back, you said. You supported me. Yeah, you kind of did. All right. That's enough fun for one day. Look, I'm not trying. Look, I'm just I'm telling you the way that I think. I'm not trying to take away anybody's hope, but at the same time, you got to be realistic about all this. I guess you don't have to be. But I guess I get a little, what's the right word? Perturbed. When no one wanted to be hopeful last year at the beginning of the season, and then they didn't believe the 2-0, and yeah, I guess they were kind of right. Carr got hurt and things went. Now you want to be hopeful because there's a quarterback you don't know anything about because he ate at Drago's instead of Chipotle. I guess that's what bothers me more than anything. But hey, maybe everybody will prove me wrong, and I'll be eating some nasty po' boy come next January 6th or whatever it is when the Saints win their 9th game of the year. Big Sean will be my guest on Mono E Monday on January the 6th, 2026. And we'll all have fun with it. Speaking of Mono E Monday, that's going to be our next show. There is no show tomorrow. We did our Friday show on Thursday because we wanted to come in and talk about the schedule. And I think we did that for the most part. We got into probably a little bit more than I planned on. I mean, I wanted to talk about the second round quarterbacks. Talked probably a little bit more than I expected. I was on the air for 20 minutes longer than I expected as well. One of these days, it's going to happen. You're going to go back to the old days when we were on for an hour and 15. We'll see. That will wrap it up for us on this Thursday. I want to thank today's guests, Rod Walker, Gabe Henderson, and of course, you. We will see you next when we look forward to another Mono E Monday. What am I going to do with my time? I actually have putting together a little package trying to see if this podcast can maybe win an award. We've done so well the last few weeks. I thank all of you for your support. All kidding aside, it has been a great couple of weeks for the show. I say a couple of weeks, really for the last 3-4 weeks. Our numbers have been through the roof. I never mentioned this before, but I meant to. And I may say it again because I meant to say it earlier in the show when everyone was here. We had our Saturday show was by far the most watched / listened to Dattitude that we've ever had. We have been averaging in the ballpark of right now. Our average for the year is a little over 12,000 per show. We're over 500,000 for the year, which is fantastic. But on Saturday with our impromptu show, and I haven't looked at the number as of this past Monday. As of this past Monday, it had views and listens over 61,000 views and listens combined for my little podcast. And I remember the days back when we were first starting this thing. The first year that we did it, if it got to 500, I was jumping for joy. And now here we are where we're averaging over 12,000. And we did a show on Saturday morning, an impromptu show that no one knew was even coming on the air. And we did over 61,000. We haven't had a show fewer than 10,000. And that's both live and after the fact on demand. We haven't had a show less than 10,000 views / listens since March. So to do this in the off season, I can't thank you all enough, and I am so appreciative for all of you. Again, without you, I can't do this. Kyle Sherman, thank you, especially to all the regulars. I am just incredibly thankful. So I guess I should probably be a little bit more positive and piss people off and turn them off. I'm definitely not trying to do that. So thanks to all of you, and congrats to all the Dattitude family for making this one of the more watched and listened to podcasts around. We're working on it. We're trying to take that next step. That's why it's so important. That's why I'm trying to get everyone who watches us on Facebook to come over to the YouTube page, because believe it or not, even though the people that matter most, the ones that pay my salary, they do look at everything. They kind of factor where we are on YouTube more than anything. So right now, again, we're still probably about, I'd say 80% of our views and listens are still on Facebook. It's better than it was 90% before. It's down to about 80%, but I'm trying to get them to come over to YouTube. If you could do that, be a part of the family. So come subscribe to the show if you haven't done so already. Give us a like and click the little bell to receive notifications when we go in the air. As my daughter would say, smash that subscribe button. Smash it. You can also find us wherever you get your podcasts, including Apple, Spotify, and many more. You can always find the replay of the show if you miss it and you don't have us on YouTube and you don't know how to find it. You can go to NOLA.com/sports. Everyone have a wonderful, fantastic weekend. We're going to take a little break. We're going to try to see if we can get together a package of the best of from 2024. We'll let you know how that goes. We will see you on Monday. Everyone have a fantastic, wonderful weekend. Enjoy your summer preview. It's supposed to get to 90 degrees all weekend. Yikes. And then we will see you when we return. Everyone, have a great weekend. Talk to you Monday. Take it easy, my friends.
If you're looking for the latest scoop and in-depth interviews on the Saints, the NFL, the Pelicans, LSU, along with the best bets of the week, then lucky you. Along with high-powered, in-the-know guests who cover our teams, Jim Derry brings plenty of Dattitude. And he'll always tell you the way it is, or at least the way he thinks it is.